Good morning, everybody. Could we please stand for the pledge? Supervisor Dandol, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You're born.
Good morning and welcome, everybody. We'll start with staff announcements. Ms. Medina.
Good morning. Announcement agency. This morning we have Deuce. Deuce is a little timid. So that's why there's two people here today. And I'll explain why in just a few moments. So this is Deuce. Deuce is a male border collie mix. He's estimated to be around 8 months old and he weighs about 43 pounds. We've had Deuce about a month and a half, ladies. Yeah. About a month and a half. A very kind man from West Point brought Deuce and his two brothers to our shelter. We have Deuce and we also have Tucker, I believe, as well, still with us. So Deuce he is timid, as you can see, and we think he might have been mistreated by some bad humans. So he's real timid with fast movements, but due to the kindness of our volunteers and our shelter staff, he's obviously coming around. So he's becoming a happy pup. So this is a big deal for him, right, Dolores and Shauna? So Deuce is leash trained and he does well with other dogs. He's smart. Border collies are really smart and they're quick learners. So if you're interested in Deuce, please reach out to us as he will need to be neutered before he goes home. Of course, he will be neutered, microchipped, vaccinated, and everything. So he will be good to go. But please give us a call. And if you have another pup at home, then we will certainly request a meet and greet before we send him home with you folks. We don't know what his attitude is with cats, as always, but we can certainly find that out. Moving on to cats. So, I wanted to let everybody know Hildy, the last dog that we brought in, got adopted. So this works, you know, and it does work because we have a better outlook on the dogs that we bring to in front of the board. So we thank you for that again. We're looking for humans that can foster. Right now we have 38 dogs, so we are more than doubled up in some of our kennels. Staff are busy, our volunteers. Of course, we couldn't do anything without them. Dolores and her group gave over 657 hours in July, and then I didn't get the results for the cat hours from Miss Pino, but I will announce those shortly. We also have 40 cats and there's 7 litters of kittens that we are currently under our care. So we're looking for some help from our community. And specifically, we're looking for cat scratchers that are disposable, you know, the cardboard kind, you know, that you can purchase. And we're also looking at cat warming. They're called cat warming discs, and they're called Snuggle Safe heating pads. They're about $30 each. And we're also looking for Friskies, canned kitten food. So those are some of the minor items we're looking for. So please, if our community can help us out with that, we would be most grateful, and we're very gracious for anything that we get at the shelter. We also currently have a pup that's running around the campus that we're trying to catch. Looks like she's probably has puppies somewhere, so we're a little concerned about her. So if you happen to see her, please let us know, but we are currently active on that as well. We would like to thank CCAS and Focus. They purchased a 5-gallon kitten replacement, which is awesome because that kitten replacement milk is very expensive. We had a huge donation of kitten bottles and other KMR replacements, so that's very beneficial and helpful to our staff. The next Focus and CCAS rabies clinic will be held in Angels Camp on September 13th at the Spence Ranch Feed and Supply. I sent out a flyer to everyone yesterday. Dr. Sasha Greenlee will be the attending veterinarian. And the last clinic of the year will be on October 11th here at the campus, and that will include rabies and microchip. Have any questions?
How many dogs do you have currently?
We have 38.
38.
38 pups, and some of them are doubled up in their kennels. That includes 12, we received 12 dogs in one day, including 9 puppies. So we're very busy.
Yeah.
I was just talking to staff about some supplies that we need pronto, huh? So thank you. If you don't have any questions.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Shauna.
Thank you.
Mr. Holt.
You just gave me that, sir. I want to know. Oh.
Good morning, board. I just wanted to present to you guys, I had asked you for the letter for this disaster guide, so we have put this together. It is now back. We got it printed. A lot of shout outs to county staff that helped me compile this. It's here, and a special shout out to Kelly Stefanik from IT. She actually took this kind of on her own and got it on the website for us already. So under, I think it's disaster preparedness section, you'll see the disaster preparedness guide. So this is paid for through reallocation of our EMPG 2023 money. So it came at no cost to the county. We were able to get 2,500 of them printed up and in our own hands. So now we're disseminating them. So I've left some for everybody in here to come take, please. And thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Eric,
Yeah.
did anybody else have any questions? I just was gonna ask, where do you plan on distributing them?
Well, when we do our local town halls or other visits, we would like to get them out, but we also are gonna probably save 1,000 of them or so for in the event of a disaster. So we've
Great.
got about 1,500 to give out throughout the county.
Super, thank you.
Yeah.
It's Kashi.
Morning, board. Right now, Integrated Waste is interested in gathering feedback from residents and business owners regarding our solid waste system and some feedback with our franchise hauler, Cal Waste. We do have a survey running. These flyers, kind of survey flyers, have been distributed in every district at the grocery stores, bulletin boards. We're trying to, gather as much and reach as many populations and communities as possible. I'm going to leave a few of these, but, I'm hoping that everybody can, chime in and provide feedback on how well we're doing or areas that we can improve. So I just wanted to kind of leave this up here and make that announcement.
Thank you. How long will it be up?
The 19th of August is our expected close date of our survey. If we still need to keep it open for an additional week or so, we absolutely can. So far we've had pretty good feedback. We have about 290 responses so far. So from a survey standpoint, I think we're doing a pretty good job. But I still know that there's communities and people that we still have not reached, and I would love to hear feedback from everybody.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Are there any other staff announcements? Seeing none, we'll move on to recognition and acknowledgements. Madam Clerk.
Item 1, proclamation, clerk, recorder, archives, and museum. Approve a proclamation recognizing Shannon Van Zant for her 21 years of exemplary service as the county archivist.
I wanted to read this one myself. I'm being selfish today. She means a lot to me. Whereas the Board of Supervisors, along with the community, would like to thank Shannon Van Zant for serving the county of Calaveras with unwavering dedication, professionalism, and integrity in her role as the county archivist for the past 21 years. And whereas Shannon has been a steadfast steward of Calaveras County's historical records, ensuring the preservation, organization, and accessibility of invaluable public documents that chronicle the county's rich history and heritage. And whereas Shannon Van Zant has been an exceptional leader and public servant, demonstrating expertise and dedication in archival management and preservation. And whereas Shannon has championed the enduring value of historical materials and the vital role of archivists in maintaining the public trust and cultural memory of the community. And whereas she has co-authored 2 books chronicling Calaveras County historic brands of the Calaveras County, 1854 to 1880, and brands of Calaveras County, 1881 to 1913, preserving regional heritage through detailed research and scholarship. And whereas in 2015, Shannon was recognized with the Richard Taylor Pioneer Award by the Society of Preservation of West Calaveras History for her outstanding contributions to local history education. And whereas the Board of Supervisors express appreciation and gratitude for Shannon's legacy of service and her commitment to excellence in the stewardship of Calaveras County historical assets. And with that, I'll bring it to the board for any comments. Supervisor Stopper? No? Okay. Is there any public comment? Mr. Manna?
I'm Sal Manna, Society for the Preservation of West Calaveras History, and we could not have done what we have done over the last 21 years without Shannon's interest and accessibility and work. It's been truly amazing. We could not have gotten to where we are now without her. And myself and other historians in the county, I really appreciate it, and we will miss it.
Thank you.
Morning.
Morning.
I have to say, I think most of us really are irreplaceable. However, Shannon in particular, she just has a passion for history that's astounding. And I think the county's fortunate to have had her here as long as we did. I think we're really lucky to have kept her for 21 years. She's leaving big shoes to fill, and we are going to try our best to fill them, but I don't think the archives will be the same as it is today. Again, we'll do our best, and we'll probably keep calling you. I do have to say, she really does a good job of safeguarding the records too, which is huge to me. Our relationship started because I found out I was missing recorder books, and I was like, where are they? And I found them at archives, and I was like, I want my books back. Like, you can't have them. Like, this isn't a thing. And I was like, oh no, it is. They're my books. And so we did learn to work together, and it's a much better relationship that way. But I have to give her kudos for standing up to me.
Thank you.
Thank-
Emma?
Well, both personally and professionally. Personally, Shannon has been a wonderful mentor and teacher. I did do an internship with her. And professionally, as the director for the Historical Society, she has been a wonderful resource. We go down quite often and ask her questions. We have research requests that we don't always have the answers to. And she has just been a wonderful resource, and we're really going to miss her.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment?
Don Goodrich, Commander, VFW Post 2600. The preservation of history is vital to all communities. And although I don't know Shannon personally, I would like to commend her and her obligation to the history of Calaveras County. That's exemplified by the fact that I recently did a dedication to Solon Blaisdell. He was a decorated Civil War veteran. And unfortunately, due to a flood, his remains were lost in time in McCollum Hill. So we rededicated the gravestone. So her dedication to preserving history is well regarded by the veterans and well appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Goodrich. Terry, this is comment. This isn't public comment. This is, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment regarding the proclamation? Any comment online?
We have no online public comment.
With that, I'll bring it back to the board.
Shannon, I want to thank you very much for your 21 years. They were all in a row, which is good. There was no steps in between. So thank you. And I wish you well in your next steps in life. So thank you. And you will be hard to replace. And don't change your phone number, please.
Supervisor Stopper,
With that, I'd like to make a motion.
I'll make a second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Therefore, be it proclaimed that Shannon Van Zant is wished continued health, happiness, and success in the years ahead. and the county gratefully recognizes and honors her 21 years of distinguished service to the residents of Calaveras County and beyond. Passed and adopted by the Board of Supervisors of the County of Calaveras, State of California, this 12th day of August, 2025. Well done. Come on up, Shane.
So we'll do this picture first and then we'll do that next, okay? You can take a picture with you in a heart. Can't do that.
It's all shifts. Sure.
So much more. So Shannon, on behalf of the Historical Society, we would like to honor you with the J.A. Smith Outstanding Historian Award. This does not get sent out very often, as you can see by our little plaque. So you will forever be in the Historical Society as one of our amazing historians. And thank you so much for all of your work.
Amazing, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move on to general public comment.
Any item of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board and is not posted on the consent or regular agendas may be addressed during the public comment period. California law prohibits the board from taking action on any matter which is not posted on the agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the Board of Supervisors. If public comment is completed before the 30-minute allotted time period, the board may immediately move to the next order of business if public comment is not completed during the allotted time period. It will be continued as the last item of business in order to provide an opportunity for the remainder of comments to be heard.
Thank you. Terry, now you're up.
Morning, Terry McBride, New California State Committee, Chair of Calaveras County Senator and the President pro tempore of the New California State Senate. I love this sign. We had our ballot election on August 2nd. We had a great turnout. I want to read you the questions. This is a hard truth. New California State Bill of Rights, Section 19, because we have a constitution. I hope you all went and read it. States the following: neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall ever be tolerated in this state. Do you know we are California's first state that ever did that? Did it before the U.S. The U.S. Constitution. California is the largest child sex trafficking state in the Union, and only second behind China. If that doesn't drive your blood cold, I don't know what will. Trafficking in all forms in California is encouraged by the California State Legislature and the governor by not supporting legislation against trafficking or by failing to fund law enforcement agencies in order for them to take action to stop slavery. Would you support the new California State's Constitution, which will utilize all constitutional, legislative, judicial, and executive means necessary to stop violations of the new California State's Bill of Rights, Section 18, slavery, and put an end to child sex trafficking and slavery in the many forms that currently exist in California? Of course, it won overwhelmingly. New California State Bill of Rights, Section 1 and 2. California's governor endorses disaster capitalism, Butte Fire, which involves the deliberate destruction of our great state's natural resources, such as our forests and water resources, by weather modification, declarations of false droughts, and habitat destruction for the purpose of obtaining federal relief funds to fuel the governor's radical social agenda. Would you support New California State's Constitution, which will utilize all constitutional, legislative, judicial, and executive means necessary to stop violations of the New California State's Bill of Rights, Section 1 and 2, to stop further destruction of our natural resources, 2, in the governor's radical agenda, and hold him accountable? Overwhelmingly, yes. New California State Constitution. Do you want New California State to send this Constitution to Congress in order to grant statehood in New California State? Overwhelmingly, yes. Why is this election so important? Why is it important? Polling places again. It's so community. It's fabulous. It's like it used to be. One day voting in person. Of course, there are some that will not be able to. So of course we have to, as we always have, accommodate those that cannot. ID required. You know how fast they whip their ID out of their wallet? They can't wait to show it to us. And then remove electronic voting because the changes are being done in the machines. Gavin Newsom is number one. Gavin Newsom has just issued I'd call it almost a threat in regards to voting here in California. I would look into that. I don't have time to go into it. But thank you for your time. I hope you will come to our next, and please do look at our Constitution.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Mr. Butner.
Good morning. My name is Christopher Butner, publisher of Calaveras 2026election.com. There are multiple questions concerning transparency and accountability I'll now direct for consideration by the county executive officer, county council, 5 district supervisors, as well as the executive director of the Calaveras Visitors Bureau, all seated before me, less Supervisor Follendorf, to be included in today's meeting's records. These questions pertain to the CVB, its board of directors, and its executive director, and the CVB's annual allocation of funding of hundreds of thousands of dollars from Calaveras County's transient occupancy taxes. It is well established that the CVB changed its legal designation from a public benefit nonprofit corporation to a mutual benefit nonprofit corporation in July 2021. Not established or explained is why and for what benefit did the CVB change its legal designation from public benefit nonprofit corporation to mutual benefit nonprofit corporation in July 2021. Who instigated the change? Why did the CVB persistently fail to notify Calaveras County's government of its nonprofit corporation's change legal designation? Why does the CVB perpetuate its misrepresented funding agreement with the Calaveras County government under the pretense of the CVB being a public benefit nonprofit corporation when in fact the CVB had changed its legal designation to mutual benefit nonprofit corporation in July 2021? Chairperson Huberty is the individual best positioned to respond to these questions, since in addition to him being District 3 Supervisor, he concurrently serves as the Executive Director of the CVB, legally burdening him with administrative responsibility for ensuring accuracy and truthfulness of the CVB's records. Other troubling and unanswered questions include, why did Calaveras County experience a staggering reported combined loss of 340 tourism jobs between 2023 and 2024, and a reported loss of $4.6 million in direct earnings from tourism between 2023 and 2024? Who at the taxpayer-funded CVB is responsible for ensuring timely publishing of the CVB's annual budgets, absent from public view since 2018, or ensuring timely publishing of board of directors' agendas, absent from public view since June 2019, or board of directors meeting minutes absent from public view since November 2024, or ensuring transparency by publishing accurate and timely bylaws instead of having stalled for 3 years only then to produce and publish erroneous bylaws for a mutual benefit nonprofit corporation. My name is Christopher Butner, publisher of Calaveras 2026election.com.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Come on up.
This is a short public comment. My name is Charnette Boylan, and I was sent by the County Friends of the Library to invite all of you to the 24th annual Trivia Bee, which is going to be held on September 13th at the San Andreas Town Hall. And you're invited as a participant on a team, as a sponsor, or just as an observer, in which case they're all very pleasant things to do. So I have some flyers. I don't know if anybody wants one, or signups for for teams or support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Goodrich.
You, sir. Good morning, Supervisors and Madam Clerk. My name is Don Goodrich. I'm the current commander of Calaveras VFW Post 2600. I'm here for two reasons. The first, on behalf of veterans organizations in the county. Accompanying me are two distinguished veterans with over 40 years service. One of them attaining the highest rank in the United States Army in the enlisted Sergeant Major. Without veterans, that flag wouldn't be there. You may be seated under a hammer and sickle, a swastika, or other flag. Our organizations need assistance to continue operations. Currently, we're looking for funds to replace a roof and solar. Our solar expenses are outrageous, over $1,200 a month. At a recent VFW meeting, I met with Post in Ripon, California. And Calaveras County, or excuse me, San Joaquin County has $6 million in their funds for veterans improvements and other public servants. I realize that Calaveras County doesn't have the budget of San Joaquin and couldn't match anywhere near that. But extrapolating the amounts, it would still work out to about 120 to 150,000 of budgetary expense that could be allocated to veterans improvements, which would assist us. When you look for veterans to put flags on the boulevard here, for public speaking, for honor guard, who do you look to? The VFW, the American Legion. All of us need assistance. I talked with our friends in West Point. Their PG&E bills are out of sight. And without assistance to correct these things, we're in dire straits. I have to commend Supervisor Tofinelli for pledging $2,000 out of his discretionary fund, and would challenge and request the rest of you, if you have discretionary funds left, to pledge the same or even more. And also in your budget considerations, to consider us veterans that have served you. Can you serve us? Can you help us? That's what I'm requesting. The second issue regards the Calaveras Veteran Service Organization. There's a tremendous distrust and displeasure with the Calaveras Veterans Organization. We have a Coffee for Veterans event in Angels Camp every Monday. And at that meeting, there's a lot of discussion about Vicky, going to Vicky for veteran service ideas. Well, Vicky isn't a Calaveras County employee. She's a Tuolumne County employee. So all of us are referring veterans to Tuolumne County. And I'll give you an example. One person came to me and said that they'd been trying for 2 years to get information out of the VSO to get a claim resolved. I sent that person to Tuolumne. It was resolved in 3 weeks. That's just one example. I would invite any of you supervisors, including our absent supervisor, to come to that meeting or come to any veterans meeting, because I rarely see any of you there. We're a big part of this community. There was over 14,000 of us here. We all served. So again, can you serve us? And another example that I'd like to bring to you is the fact that a few meetings ago, we honored Calaveras Woman of the Year, and also there was a proclamation for veterans given at that time, which I accepted on behalf of veterans. And I asked the clerk at the time, or asked the board, I said, thank you. I said, do we have a frame so we can display this? And I believe it was you kindly said, no, we don't provide those. So that's what we have here. 6 million from San Joaquin, 0 from Calaveras. Surely we're worth more than that. Please consider us.
Thank you, Commander.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Madam Clerk.
Consent agenda items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. They will be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. Any board member, staff member, or interested party may request the removal of an item from the consent agenda for later discussion.
Thank you. Would the board like to pull any items?
I'd like to pull item number 15.
Number 15?
Mhm.
Anyone else? Is there any member of the public that would like to pull an item? Smart.
Hi, Michael Martin, Public Works Director. I need to pull item 22, the vacation of easement. Since we prepared this item, some new information has come forward that we need to investigate. So we're gonna save this item for a future date.
Perfect, thank you. So. Any others? Nope. Okay, seeing none others, we will pull item 15. Could I have a motion for the rest of the consent agenda?
I'll move the remaining items.
I'll second them.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is 4001. We'll move on to item number 15, please. Human Resources.
Item 15, resolution, human resources, resolution appointing Health and Human Services Agency Director Marcos Munoz as Calaveras County Public Guardian and Director of Social Services.
Mr. Munoz, morning.
I pulled this item, so.
Okay, my understanding is that Mr. Munoz should explain the item first.
Oh, I can briefly, obviously, the CEO has appointed Mr. Munoz as the new Health and Human Services Agency Director. But even though that's now something that's within the CEO's purview, there are a couple of statutory designations that the board still needs to make, and that is Public Guardian and Director of Social Services. So that's this item.
Thank you. Sorry, now Supervisor Toppinelli.
Thank you. Congratulations, I think, Marcos. How do you feel? Is this something that you feel good about?
Thank you. Yes, no, I am excited. I've had the pleasure of serving in the administration office for the last 3.5 years. But as you all know, I started in the Health and Human Services realm, and I am excited to go back. It feels like returning home. So excited to be over there.
Well, thank you very much, and we're very lucky to have you in that position, and we're very lucky to have you at the time in administrative. You do a fantastic job. I just want to pull this item and say thank you for stepping forward and do what you're doing.
Yeah.
With that, I'll move this item unless there's any public comment.
Is there any public comment regarding this item? Is there any public comment online?
We have no online public comment.
Thank you. Bring it back to the board.
It's gonna be a little too far away for my comfort, but I'll still second it because we need you over there, and no matter where you go, Marcos, you're gonna shine. So we appreciate you.
I agree with my colleagues. Thank you for all you do for the county.
Thank you, Marco. So we have a motion. Do we get a second?
That was
Seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0-1.
And
Thank you.
All right, there's no backing down now, Mark.
Gary says
You're
aye
ahead.
for Amanda also.
I got a proxy vote, but Amanda said you had to.
Okay, we'll move on now to our regular agenda. Madam Clerk, item number 24.
Item 24, resolution, Air Pollution Control District, acting as the Air Pollution Control District Board. 1, conduct a public hearing. 2, find the rule amendment exempt from CEQA. And 3, adopt a resolution amending the Calaveras County Air Pollution County Control District rules by rescinding Section M of Rule 1002, definition of emergency, and Section B.12 of Rule 1006, emergency provisions to comply with federal law.
Thank you. And for purposes of this item, the Board of Supervisors is acting as the Air Pollution Control District Board. So I will open a public hearing.
Good morning.
Medina.
Board Lisa Medina, Environmental Management Agency and Acting Air Pollution Control Officer. I have Michelle Turner here. She is our Deputy Air Pollution Control Officer, and she helps me significantly. So we are presenting this item, Michelle?
Yes, EPA initially created a rule which required that we implement Title V provisions in our district rules and regulations, which basically specifies major emitters of pollutants are to be permitted, which is different than everyone we actually permit in the county. There was some legal action against that, and the courts came back and decided that the EPA had overstepped when they included emergency provisions as a defense, an affirmative defense in their ruling, and required that the EPA strike that. EPA has since said, now you all must change your rules to comply with our rules. So we are striking the emergency provisions, which would allow a permittee to defend a breakdown in an emission. The fact is we have no Title V facilities, so this impacts nobody. We're just complying with federal law.
Thank
Do
you.
you have questions?
Lisa's agreeing with you, so she's our.
It's quick and
Very
easy deal. Right.
And we did post, we put out, we posted for 30 days. We requested comments. We received no comments or questions. regarding this
Basically
matter.
walking back the law.
Yes.
Correct. We're basically, because we are not allowed to not enforce the law. That's for the courts to do.
Right. Understood. All right.
So are there any comments and concerns from the public about amending the APCD's rules in the manner proposed? Are there any public comment?
We have no online public comment.
Thank you. So I will close the public comment and bring it back to the board.
I'll move the item as the feds are making us do it anyway, so
Yeah.
we better fall through.
I'll second this item because Lisa's shaking her head yes. She's
Thank
a
you.
pollution
Get it
control
done.
person.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on now to item number 25.
Item 25, informational item, Public Works, receive a presentation from PG&E representatives on the progress of the California Wildfire Safety Program in Calaveras County.
Well, Mike Martin, your Public Works Director. I just wanted to take a moment to introduce this item. As you're all aware, PG&E does a lot of work throughout the county every day. And they've got a lot of great plans coming up with some of the work they're going to be doing. A lot of projects that are going to be happening throughout several of the districts. So we wanted to share that information with you all today, so you have a good heads up as to the good work that they're doing and any of the work that may be impacting your district in the next coming year or two. So with that, I'm going to turn the time over to our PG&E representatives that are here for the presentation.
Thank you.
Good morning,
You'll
Chair.
come here.
Oh,
Because you have your
wonderful.
presentation.
Even better. I was ready to do a standing preview.
Unless you said once. And your mic is already.
We're live.
Yes.
Well, good morning, Chair Huberty, Supervisors, Teresa and team here in Calaveras County. My name is Nathan Alonso. I am part of the Local Government Affairs team for Pacific Gas and Electric. We appreciate the time to be able to come and address the board this morning regarding some of the work that we're doing here in Calaveras County around our wildfire safety program and some of the important public works programs that we are also performing here. A big thank you to Micah and his team in Public Works and to a lot of the team here in Calaveras County for being so wonderful to work with and ensuring that we have the permitting and the collaboration to get our work done. This morning, before I get started, I'd like to introduce some of the team members that are here with me this morning. Next to me is Matt Leedy, who is part of our local government affairs team. He's a specialist in the areas of vegetation management and undergrounding, which are two of the areas which we interact with the county the most as a company. With us in the audience this morning are Kelly O'Flynn, who is the manager in this portion of the region for our vegetation management programs. So he helps oversee the professionals and the contracting teams that perform the vegetation management work in this portion of the Sierras. And then also here this morning are two of my colleagues from our undergrounding program that are overseeing the project managers and those who are performing the undergrounding work here in Calaveras County. So being that we are in peak wildfire season, a quick safety message: make sure that you have a go bag. In the go bag, copies of important documents, a change of clothes. Some of us have very young kids, so make sure that you're checking to see that the go bag has the correct size for the kids and some of the other things. I went and looked at my go bag recently and I realized that my 3T toddler still had 18-month clothes in my go bag. Nothing like a snug fit. So some of the topics we'll be discussing is wildfire risk and what those programs look like on our end. We'll be talking about vegetation management, our EPSS programs, our PSPS programs, which unfortunately I think you're all familiar with. And then we'll go into some of the topics that I think we can all relate with, which are rates and affordability and what we're doing to support customers with rates and affordability in our programs. So in looking at wildfire risk, a couple of years ago, you may have seen the myriad of commercials on TV talking about our stance that catastrophic wildfire caused by electric equipment shall stop. And our CEO made a commitment to the public and to our customers that we would look to underground 10,000 miles of distribution lines in the areas with the most extreme wildfire risk. Calaveras County and much of this portion of the Sierras as a whole is either in a tier 2 or a tier 3 high fire threat area, which is either high or extreme wildfire risk. So our undergrounding efforts and our covered wire efforts, covered wire being insulated distribution line wrapped in rubber, which is then placed on steel poles instead of the traditional steel wire and wooden poles that you see out and about. Both of these tools are tools that serve two purposes. One, mitigate wildfire risk. Undergrounding reduces wildfire risk in the high 90s. Covered conductor reduces wildfire risk in the area of the 80s. So reducing wildfire risk, and then the second tier of that is reliability. When your equipment is underground, you don't have issues quite as often as far as outages go. And when your equipment is insulated, the squirrels, the turkeys, all of God's critters, and then some of the other things that come into contact with sensitive pieces of equipment that cause outages are no longer affected once you have the covered conductor. So your outage experience is significantly reduced, reliability is higher, and your risk is mitigated. So between undergrounding, covered conductor, new pieces of diagnostic equipment on distribution lines like grid scope, which helps identify any voltage irregularities or helps us better identify when equipment is coming to the end of its life cycle. And then weather stations, HD cameras, all of these things put together make up our layers of protection, which help reduce wildfire risk, improve reliability, help us get a better handle of what at the granular level is going on with the distribution and transmission systems, and overall serves our customers a whole lot better. And I would say that this is a very Socratic presentation. So if at any point you have questions, comments, throw them at me. We're good at bobbing and weaving and thinking on our feet. So in talking about some of those tools that I just went over, when looking at Calaveras counties, I think that this county and Tuolumne next door have some of the highest concentrations of both weather stations and HD cameras. Several years ago, we came up with the goal of having one HD camera every 20 line miles in areas of high wildfire threat. So here we have 10 HD cameras that live stream conditions throughout the county. And all of these cameras are tapped into by our public safety partners at CAL FIRE and other public safety agencies. And all of these you can tap into at any time by going to ops.alertcalifornia.org or pgne.com/weather, and you can see what we see. So 10 HD cameras and 41 weather stations helping to identify humidity, temperature, wind, and all of the other factors that help us make real-time decisions on calling for a PSPS event or collaborating with public safety partners when we start seeing adverse conditions affect our service territory. So going over undergrounding and wildfire safety system updates, I will introduce Matt. He'll go over this and vegetation management, and then we'll continue throughout the presentation.
Well, Nathan did a good job of giving an overview for the undergrounding program and our strengthened wire and pole program. So I won't repeat that. Always stealing some of my thunder. But the reason for these are obvious: reduce wildfire risk and increase reliability. Okay, so this map, it's important to note, and you already know this, but the dark orange indicates high fire threat areas, virtually your entire county. Not news to you, I know. So for undergrounding, we've already completed 21 miles last year. This year, in flight or completed, we have 23 miles, most of which is going to be wrapped up in the next couple months. And then you have 27 miles forecasted in 2026. I cover the entire service territory for undergrounding, and these are good numbers by county, much more than many other counties receive. It's a complicated map, I know, but the circles indicate work that was already complete. The squares are upcoming work, and the inverted triangles are going to be done in 2026.
Well, and just so that we don't have to play hieroglyphics here, we will be following up with Micah and his team with the specific projects, telling you how many line miles in each one of the projects and the locations. That way we can make sure that all of you know by each one of your districts where all of this is going to happen. And you're not just getting a county-wide map.
Yeah, that's right. And in the next couple of slides, I'm going to promote a very useful tool. It's our undergrounding portal, which is available to electeds like yourselves and also government officials, not to the general public, but there are resources for the general public as well, as seen in this website here by the exclamation point. Next, we have our strengthened poles and covered power lines. And then I didn't mention it before, but we also conduct line removal for lines that are no longer active and don't need to be there. So again, at the risk of reading from the slide, we completed 7 in 2024. We have 18 more that will be done by the end of this year, and 14 planned for next year. And the legend is the same. So this is what I alluded to, our undergrounding sharing portal. This is really a great resource. I can't tout it enough. what you do is you email that undergrounding@pge.com, requesting access to the portal, explain that you are an elected official. There'll be a verification process, shouldn't take more than 2 or 3 days. If you have a problem with it, I'm going to leave my contact information and I could help you out and run interference. But what you're going to see in there is a PDF map. You kind of get a sense of what it looks like in the upper right there. That shows more specifically the projects, and then the KMZ maps, if you're accustomed to using those. If not, I'm sure somebody here at the county does, or I could walk you through it. But these are great maps. They're much more granular. You could zoom in, you could zoom out, you could get to your specific areas that you have concerns about, and it's detailed down to the road level. So again, I can't say enough about it. Go to undergrounding or email undergrounding@pge.com, request access. And again, if you have any problems, let me know. I'll help you out. Okay, so vegetation management. This is another one of our layers of protection that's very important and near and dear to my heart as well. What this entails is trimming trees away from our power lines, cutting trees down that are a danger to our power lines, either due to proximity or they're dead, diseased, or dying. This is an overview. This is service territory wide. I'm not going to read the numbers. We do a lot of work. So specifically for Calaveras County, we have completed 11,010 miles to date. We don't know how many miles we're going to complete because we haven't conducted all the inspections. And inspections are ongoing. It's not a one and done. We're typically looking at our lines closely at least twice a year. We have planned 2,870 miles to inspect. So that number of 11,010 will increase by the end of the year.
Let them know who their contractor is for the county. It's Arbor Line.
Oh, and your contractors, you know, is Arbor Line. I'm sure you're familiar with them. So the process, customer communication is very important to us. We contact them before we move on to their property, do work on their property, sorry. We obviously inspect the lines, which I mentioned, and then trim or cut down trees. When the pieces of wood are 4 inches in diameter or smaller, we chip them where possible, as long as we could get our equipment safely to the site. If we cannot chip, and typically we chip same day, because the crews out there, they have the equipment, but they're obligated to do it within 3 days. And if we can't get equipment there to chip, we do what's called lop and scatter. It's a fancy way of saying we cut them into finer pieces and we move them in safe places. We don't leave wood piles that could be a danger for flashy fuels. And
Most of the time.
Yes, our contractors should be doing it.
Yeah. The follow up on that in certain communities is a question a lot of times. Certain areas, if it's not close to a house or in like subdivisions per se, my caller's just not cooperating today, sorry. It seems a lot has been left in certain areas. But I do have to ask you what the weed killer you're using around your poles is, because it works. I can't get anything to work this stuff.
I don't know the name.
You'll have to give me your number. I'll call you and ask at a later date.
It's very safe,
but
very nice.
Looking at these, you have some plan down in the Rancho Calaveras for like vegetation management, but going back to your line hardening and undergrounding, Rancho Calaveras community has over 3,000 developed properties. They're spacious. It's kind of a ranchette type community. It's the largest population of any single community inside Calaveras County. And I mean, your vegetation management's happening. I know because they butchered the oak tree out in front of my house, but it was needed. But the hardening is of concern down there. And again, that's the highest population community of the entire county. So,
And
is there anybody like
yeah, and is there
talk to
concern?
specifically,
Yeah, we will be your contact. And is
someone
there,
that makes the decision?
well, that would be us in collaboration with the people we're going to escalate the issue to.
Okay.
So we will be your conduit for that. But what is the concern around hardening?
The
Vegetation.
The vegetation. So it's a yeah, so they're basically 1 to 5 acre parcels, over 3,000 developed properties, all in one area. Bordering, it's slightly hilly, but there's a lot of oak trees and it does border the Calaveras River. So there's some steep terrain and fires have started through there in the past, but just putting on your radar that just a lot of people down there, and people are losing their insurance left and right.
I was going to speak to something that I think you might be interested in that's not in the slide deck, but it has to do with what we call wood management. Fancy way of saying hauling away large pieces of wood. Again, these are the pieces that are 4 inches in diameter or larger. You might think of them as logs. In 2025, we changed some of our wood management practices to align with CAL FIRE Code 4291. And in fact, our work goes a little bit beyond that as well. It also applies to all of our vegetation management programs. In the past, it only applied to our enhanced vegetation management. So it excluded routine. For example, we do two rounds of routine in counties like this that are in high fire threat areas. So having said that, we will haul away wood that is within 100 feet of structures, within 15 feet of egress and ingress, propane tanks and outbuildings. And we will obviously haul away any kind of wood that's in a riparian area, environmentally sensitive areas, things of that nature. But again, this is through work with CAL FIRE that we came up with some of these parameters, and again, went a little bit above and beyond that.
I can appreciate that. It was Martin Huberty's district, I would say about 8 years ago now, at the least, that Blue Lake Springs, there's trimming that went on up there. A lot of the trees that are taken down were cut too short by one contractor, so the other contractor didn't want to pick them up, so they end up sitting there for quite some time. Did you ever get that all the way cleaned
I
up?
believe so, but I've got another issue.
But yeah, but you've addressed it with your new rules, working with CAL FIRE for 2025, so I can appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, and then these are just some additional resources. So for instance, you could call me, anybody could call me, public also, but for the public, these are great numbers to call if they have concerns about veg management, wood management, etc. The 1-800 number is responsive. I know that because a lot of those issues bounce back to me. And same with the email address. And then we also have a report it function. So great resources again for the public.
So now getting into one of the key layers or the key items in the layers of protection is the Enhanced Power Line Safety Settings program. And I'm sure that EPSS in a high fire threat county like Calaveras is an acronym that all of you are all too familiar with. So during wildfire season, which we roughly categorized between May and October, or maybe even November, once we start getting significant precipitation, we turn on the sensitivity settings on distribution circuits in high wildfire threat areas. Those functioning to where if a significant piece of vegetation, some wildlife, a car hits a pole or anything else comes into contact with a distribution piece of equipment, it triggers a fault, which is an outage. So within 1/10 of a second, the line is de-energized. And what we do is we notify the customers as soon as the power goes off. Once we see that the outages happen, we roll a crew immediately. The crews go out, they patrol the entire line to see what the issue is. If necessary, they make repairs, run some safety tests, and get folks back online. So thanks to the EPSS program, we've seen almost 70% ignition decrease year over. The challenge in counties like Calaveras, Amador, Tuolumne, is that some circuits may run geographically large areas. So when we're out doing patrols on an EPSS outage, it may take an hour or two. But thanks to other investments that we're making as far as circuit breakers go, and other pieces of equipment that help break circuits down into quote unquote smaller bite-sized pieces, the span in which we have to patrol gets smaller. So that way we have a smaller number of customers that are affected, a smaller area to patrol so we can get customers back and restored in a much more expedient fashion as compared to how we used to in previous years. So the timeline of notification is the outage happens, customers get a text, email, call. We roll the crews out. Once the crews arrive on scene and determine kind of what's going on, they get an estimated time of restoration. And then the crews go out and make the necessary repairs, the testing, bring folks back online, and folks receive notification throughout that process. And then what we're doing this year that I think is really important and is going to be of benefit to all of those that are accountable to the public, us and all of you, is that we're going out and we're sending what the cause of the outage was within 24 hours after the outage. There is nothing more frustrating as a PG&E customer than getting the cause was unknown. And you're like, well, thanks. You torched 4 hours of my day yesterday, and now I don't know what it was that happened. So now we're making sure that we're following up with customers and letting them know it was a turkey, it was a squirrel, or one of your neighbors in their F-250 took a corner too steep and ended up in a pole. But yeah, we're there's a reason I didn't say Silverado. But yeah, we follow back up with the calls. And then one of our legacy programs that has been around since 2018 is the Public Safety Power Shutoff Program. This PSPS season pretty much can happen from now through when we start getting significant precipitation towards October, November. And this is humidity is at less than 30%. Fuels on the ground are significantly dry. Winds get above a certain point. There's a red flag warning. And in cooperation with our public safety partners, we determined that if an ignition were to happen, wildfire risk is significantly high. So these are all the different factors that come into us calling for a PSPS event. We've gotten a little bit better of how we've gone through the notification process. So about 72 hours before, we notify public safety partners, hey, we think we might have to call for an event, so be on the lookout and be ready. 48 hours before, we send out what are called watch notifications to the public, telling them we anticipate weather's going to be coming in that's going to require us to call for a PSPS event. We send out a warning notification 4 hours before, when power is off, once weather's passed, and once we have an estimated time of restoration. We don't just leave customers in a lurch, though. Whenever there is a community in which we're going to be conducting a PSPS event, we set up what are called community resource centers where folks can come and obtain resources like water, device chargers, blankets, and anything else that can help bridge that gap between when they're going to be out of power and when we can get them back on. So now that we've thrown the acronym soup at you, just want to clarify, EPSS is the reactive sensitivity settings in our distribution lines, which are enabled from April through about November during wildfire season. PSPS is proactive. We know that the weather's coming. We give you the 48 hours notice, so that way you can prepare, and then we are building up resources around you when we know we are going to be turning off power. So we also have a PSPS portal, many portals, where we have a PSPS map. It gives you the history of when we've called for a PSPS event in your area, how big those were. It gives you an indication of circuit maps and the different configuration of the grid in your community. It lets you know where a community resource center is going to be in your community, what resources will be available there. So just a lot of information that's helpful to all of you as leaders and to the public in preparation of one of these events. So rates and affordability. So in support of our customers, we have a number of programs, CARE and FIRA, which are income qualified programs. So for customers making a certain income threshold and below, they qualify for these programs, which help give them between an 18 and 20% discount on their monthly gas and electric bill. And then for any customers who have fallen behind, we have the LIHEAP program, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, which gives them up to $1,000 to catch back up on their bill. LIHEAP is federally funded, and it's one that we keep a close eye on because it's very beneficial to our customers. LIHEAP is managed through us, and then there are a number of community organizations that collaborate alongside with us to help get folks help through LIHEAP. And then budget billing, Go Green, home energy financing, and then home energy checkup are programs that we facilitate so that folks can anticipate their bill, what it may look like, and help make any changes that they may need to in order to make sure that their bill stays at under a certain amount. The Go Green home energy financing helps folks perform energy efficiency updates to their homes. And then home energy checkup, we send somebody out, they do an audit of where there may be energy leakage and gives folks some suggestions as to what they can do in order to make some upgrades at their home to make it more energy efficient. So some other resources available to customers is our disability disaster access and resources for customers with access or functional needs. This helps, one, give customers additional resources during PSPS events, during wildfire events. It helps ensure that they are also tuned into a number of other programs at PG&E, like our medical baseline program, where they get a portable battery and are put on a door knock list in case there's a PSPS event. We go and personally knock and let them know and make positive contact with them that a de-energization is coming their way. We also do this in case there's any planned work that will be affecting their address. But this also provides a valuable way for us to be able to collaborate to where if we have somebody on medical baseline and our DDAR list, maybe they can work with your Health and Human Services to make sure that they're on your notification list in case of an emergency as well. And by also enrolling in medical baseline, they are eligible to receive a discounted price per kilowatt hour rate. So that way they can bring their bill down a little bit too. So we also have backup power. So we provide generator rebates, home battery rebates, and other measures to help you become quote unquote self-contained and help you prepare in case weather happens or a de-energization because of one of these different factors happens. And like we went over, medical baseline program and the self-identified vulnerable program help give these customers these additional resources, which provide additional touch points from us, but also in collaboration with you, it helps give them those additional services that they may need, especially during a time of an emergency. And since we're big about resources for customers, as far as information goes, Wildfire Safety, Report It, and the Safety Action Center help give folks an indication as to what we're doing to help bring wildfire safety down or wildfire safety up in their community, bring risk down, ways that they can report issues that they may see, like graffiti on a piece of equipment, a tree that they believe is starting to become an issue in at their address, or anything else that they believe we need to know about and they don't want to have to be on hold with our 1-800 number. They can do it through the Report It app. And then our Safety Action Center also gives folks some suggestions on ways to be prepared for an emergency.
Do you do driving lessons? Cause it seems like people down in my area can't miss a pole when they drive off the road.
So once you get about 1,000 feet in elevation in the Sierras, it feels like folks speed into the turns instead of slowing down.
I've seen them go off the road, head 50 yards out and come back and hit the pole going back onto the road.
Like a Brian.
Yeah. So they
Yeah,
missed it the first time.
The pole
And
is
it's-
that far off the highway.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah.
And even other county roads, excuse me, Susan, other county roads, they're right on the road. And most of the power outages that I've had in my area over the course of the last few years is people hitting poles. And a lot of those poles are right off the road. So I'm noticing on your prior slides that, and I understand upcountry, your number one risk for fire, so you're undergrounding up there. But you really need to look out safety wise, since you're talking about safety here, is going underground where all those poles are right on the road. And looking at that just for safety and also fire. We do have fires down here. We just had one over the weekend here. And we've had several already this year down in this area, going down towards San Joaquin County line and Comanche and Hogan. And a couple of them has been because of the power poles. And so just getting them right off the road. Because you can't control how people drive. You can't control anything to do with them, but you can control what's there if something happens while they're driving. And you really need to look like, because you go back to that slide of where you're looking at undergrounding, there's nothing down here. As a matter of fact, most of those slides, there's nothing down here. It's like we don't have any disasters down here, or we don't have any emergencies down here, or we don't have any safety issues down here. And I think that's not correct. We do have fires down here, and I've lived through two of them that were pretty large fires. But I think at least you should consider and look at those places where those poles are right on the road, at least undergrounding through those sections, so you can prevent some safety or provide some safety.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've I can't say began doing because we've been doing it consistently, but are seeing an uptick in is pole relocation. Finding ways to be flexible with the easements that are provided to us and identifying poles that are right on roadways to be able to move them back as far as possible in an easement, or working with the property owner to obtain an additional easement to move them significantly off the road. So that's what we're doing. And then going back to your other point on the location of undergrounding, it's something that is in discussion because one of the larger geographies that we're seeing fire in this year is in lowland, grassland, foothill areas, not necessarily upcountry like you indicated. So we're looking at where we're prioritizing the work, and we're being flexible in where we're seeing, one, the most amount of traffic, but two, the geography of risk is ever evolving too. So.
Yeah, to Nathan's point, our undergrounding miles and locations are determined based on wildfire risk and multifaceted thing. But I will say we're constantly evaluating what that formula looks like and building a more perfect model. So your point is well taken.
We've been building risk down in our area. As you did bring up, the lower elevation has been going up in risk, especially with the grass and the flash fires from those. I've had I think 3 in the last 2 years down in my district, maybe 4 off the top of my head. That once they get going, they move fast, and then they get up in the trees, and it's very dangerous. And Mr. Toffanelli is absolutely right, because I border him, Highway 26 and Highway 12. And those lines, carry a lot of power for large areas. So when you have one of those poles hit, it's a major impact to a large area of people that go out of power. So, and I think.
And you have a lot of transmission lines going through your county too.
Yeah.
But going back to what you're saying in lowlands, it's something that our public safety folks are collaborating with CAL FIRE and other agencies on, is Everybody was really happy with the higher than average precipitation year last year, but that means a lot of new growth. And new growth, no matter when it happens, will die a couple months later, and that creates a fuel load that is significantly higher this year than it's been in the last half decade. So the risk has grown exponentially in a factor that others weren't expecting.
Supervisor Rambo?
Yeah, so for a different perspective, in my district, it is in a very high fuel load. And I'm seeing in the Butte Fire Burn Scar where we have, you know, the manzanitas coming back, the buckbrush, the pine trees. There's areas where you're doing the underground, but there's also a lot of brand new poles going up. So if there's brand new poles, is there no intention to underground in those areas? Without me looking deeply into them.
Yeah, so some poles may be part of routine pole replacement programs, but that doesn't necessarily preclude them from being part of the undergrounding.
That's just for now.
Yeah.
And then the white X's that were put up on the ground, they were like almost nailed into the ground in places. I was told those were done for like aerial for future undergrounding. Do you know anything about that program?
Well, thankfully, with us here today are folks from the undergrounding team who may have a better indication as to what those may mean. If you want to come up to the microphone. Sure. Yeah. This is George, my friend George.
Hi, George.
Morning.
Or you could just
No,
make it
yeah.
would be great. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the X's that you're referring to. I have not seen, I know we're marking some markings on pavement for a temporary restoration, because we'll come back and do some restorations, but if it's a temporary restoration, we'll mark a T. Maybe it's a T that you're looking at. I'm not sure if it's the next, but I'll go back and look at with my team.
Have you noticed one?
This is my
I
project
have the
manager.
same question, and it's for LiDAR purposes, so we do base maps. So when they do aerial, they can get a topo, get elevations and know exactly where they're at.
Okay.
So, cause I also have projects in this area, I would encounter them on 26. and
Yeah.
Ridge Road, and I question them, that's where our survey takes.
So it's for your surveying and mapping
Yeah.
purposes. Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you. That's why it's here.
Huh?
You're not gonna come dig it up.
It's there. Another question I had, or a concern that I hear from a lot of residents, is that pre-messaging component. You know, there's a lot of very large parcels, back of dirt roads, locked gates. That, you know, I know there's Arbor Line, but there seems to also be a slew of various contractors, and there's a mistrust among some residents as to who this is. So if there could be some sort of universal messaging, I don't know, that everybody has PG&E next to Arbor Line or something to that effect, it would probably help with some of the aggression that some contractors might get from residents.
I have heard that complaints in other areas as well, that they aren't marked with PG&E, and they're a subcontractor sometimes to the main contractor. I know that we're working on getting, and this, I wouldn't say it was done at my request, but something that I harped on long enough to where getting our logo somewhere.
Right.
Or some kind of messaging that shows that this is a PG&E project and not some random subcontractor. So you're not alone, and the constituents you're hearing from are not alone in those concerns, and we're working to fix that.
And folks can also request to be put on what are called enterprise notifications, to where we have to make positive contact with them a certain number of hours before we come onto the property.
And I'm on that list as a long-term landowner, you know, and in the past, most recently, that's been great. We've gotten the contacts, we've made plans, made sure our dogs are put away. And that's a lot of the residents up country. But in the past, there has been where I've come home and contractors have climbed the gate and they're up there chainsawing and the dogs are freaking out. And so it's just having that consistency and that messaging ahead, I think, could really use some improvement.
But I have to agree. I was gonna bring it up too, that there's no notification. Twice you came on my property, PG&E trucks came on my property. They went down my driveway, which is paved, I paid for it, just decided to turn off of it, to go wherever they do. They cracked the pavement. There was no notification to me at all. They didn't even come up, and I was at home, didn't realize they were out there at the time. and come up and knock on the door and say, hey, we're here, we're gonna be doing this. They were trying to replace a pole is what they were doing. And another time they were looking at wires and doing investigations or whatever, but there was no notification coming on your property. It's like you don't have any rights from PG&E if they decide they want to go onto your property. And it's the number one complaint I get from everybody, that PG&E or their contractors just show up and decide they can do whatever they want. They have the right to do whatever they want. And it does, she's right. People get upset about it. At least you could come to the door and knock and let us know, because the notification system that you're using, I wasn't notified at all that anybody was going to be there.
Yeah.
In my, address and phone number is all out there, but there was no notification. And that's your number one problem you have, and she's correct, the people complaining about how you guys operate. You just do whatever you want. And just drive off the pavement wherever you want to drive off the pavement, regardless, and it's not your issue. It's the homeowner's problem.
Could I jump in there for a second? It happened to me yesterday. I was gonna bring it up the same thing where they completely blocked the road and were digging into the side of my hill, but I never knew that they were coming. So it would be really helpful to have notification. I agree.
I'm sorry that both of those situations happened to both of you. And on the cracked pavement bit, if this was recent, Supervisor Tofinelli, I'd encourage you to file a claim and send us some pictures of what happened, and that way we can look to make it right.
Supervisor Stopper?
My experience, because they replaced the pole right in front of my house, also was a little bit different, because I happened to be around when they showed up and they were doing the investigation on what needed to happen there and everything. So they did talk to me and asked me if it was all right, but I was like, well, yeah, of course you're gonna do it anyway. But my question is more towards when the pole was replaced. The old pole was left there and was cut down because the other services that went through Xfinity, older phone lines and everything. I know you're different companies. They're piggybacking on your infrastructure to a degree, but it's tacky. I mean, I don't know how to say it other than, I feel like maybe CAL FIRE should be having them cooperate with you on these, in these situations, because they should be moving everything over to the new pole at the same time and everything, because my feeling is that pole was replaced for a reason. And if that comes down, that could be a situation that could cause, something to happen to what you just replaced at the same time. So I don't know what the solve is for that one, but there should be some cooperations between the different entities when it comes to these services and replacement. They should be carrying some of the
Yeah, and that's one of the areas that we
buck with you.
yeah, that's one of the areas where we come into some of our most significant challenges is joint utility cooperation, both on pole work and also undergrounding. On undergrounding, and I don't want to cast aspersions on our other utility partners, but everybody wants to jump into the trench with us. Nobody wants to pay to jump into the trench with us.
That's shared cost.
They're like, hey, you already dug it. Why don't we just throw our stuff in it? And we're like, well, if you throw your stuff in it, you got to pay for a portion of it. They're like, well, we don't want to do that.
Well, my understanding also is there has to be a certain amount of separation too, which in most cases doesn't.
Which we can make.
But you
Which we can make,
water
they have to
and
help.
gas next to
Could I just say, because we've been harping on you for a little bit. I do have to say that your guys in the field have been amazing. The undergrounding guys have been terrific and have worked with my constituents very, very well. The texting has really helped. I think that the advances that you made in the last couple of years have really made a difference to our constituents, or at least in my area that I can speak to. And I always know when the helicopter goes over my house, the power's going to come back on in 5 minutes. I mean, a lot of it is working, is what I wanted to say. So I just wanted to say thank you also.
And on the restoration front too, we've been using helicopters, but the other thing that's going to help us expedite the speed of restoration is some of the drone technology that we're using now. So most of the time, our drones are huge, and they're pretty well marked. So please encourage your constituents that this is new, emerging, and good technology that we're using for their benefit as far as helping to patrol lines to restore them quicker. We don't need anybody taking target practice on our drones.
Please don't shoot them.
Please don't skeet our drones.
More. Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah, quite expensive.
I had just one more heart, and I believe Supervisor Stopper already spoke to this, but I just wanted to reiterate the wood management program. I'm really excited to see that developing, and I would love as many of your phone numbers as I can get. There's a lot of, a neighbor right on my road, she's elderly, and she has huge bullpine rounds just laying in manzanita and buckbrush, and she has called 1-800 number after 1-800 number, and she can't deal with that. And
Teresa's team will get you all of our contact info.
okay.
Yeah, I'm going to leave my contact information.
I got Nathan's number right here.
Share that far and wide. But no, if you contact me,
Yeah.
I could help run that down. And I've noticed personally in 2025, I've been part of attached to the wood management team for a long time. Much more wood is getting picked up
Great.
in a much timelier manner this year. So,
Yeah, this has been laying there for
well,
3 or 4 years, so
like I
it's,
said, I leave my number in my email. These are the kind of things that I help deal with. We call them escalations, but yeah, I could help them.
Supervisor Stopper.
I working with your field guys, your linemen and everything else, with my other job and everything. I mean, the response is quick. You can always get online and see like potential restoration. My experience more recently is you like hit the mark and you're getting it done earlier. So I do appreciate the work that you guys in the field are doing. And yes, this isn't just a harp session. We're letting you know some of our issues in our areas and everything, but we do appreciate the good work that does. And the only other thing I can ask is bring everyone's bills down.
We're working on that. We're working on that. And to that point, on the affordability front, we filed our general rate case for years 2027 to 2030. And for the first time in 15 years, we anticipate bills to be flat. So we're not going out and asking for additional increases.
Can you write that down?
You can see it all over our website.
Okay, I'll go to your website and I'll take some screenshots because the last few years, seeing as some of the CPUC has held back on some of the rate increases, and then more so that they've been approved, and because you justified the reasons. I mean, having to understand the infrastructure going in is a very high cost, and you can't do it with nothing, and you don't have money trees and PG&E other than your hydroelectric plants. It's extremely costly for a lot of people that are unfortunately these days, the dollar doesn't go as far. So
yeah, and that's why we're excited that rates will be flat as compared to this year going into the next several. And we're going to be going to the legislature and to the commission with a number of proposals around affordability. So we'll be engaging you in the coming months, if not year, to see if you can join in amplifying our voice on things that we can do to help bring the bill down.
So like CEQA and everything you have to do for everything you have to put in.
Yeah. So
yeah,
around a third of your bill today is just state mandates that the state comes up with the idea, they vote on it, they pass it, then we're the logo that puts it on your bill. And a lot of it are things that we can sunset because they don't serve their purpose anymore, or that we want to go out and actually take on the cost ourselves and borrow out in the market for us to do the work so that it doesn't come out of residential customer bills. So there are a number of things that we're doing, but We're gonna have to go through our regulators, we're gonna have to go through the legislature, and we're gonna need your help in amplifying that voice. And as far as this being what did you say? You guys each had a
Oh, harping?
Oh, I will take the harping from this board any day. I compared to the folks down in Tuolumne, oh boy. I'm kidding.
You're
I'm
on record.
kidding.
I would,
Sharon, if you're watching this.
I would like to, I do have some specific questions, but I won't bring them up here, but if it's all right, I will call you later.
Perfect.
Thank you. Is there any public comment regarding this item? Is there any comment online?
We have no online public
Okay,
comment.
seeing as there aren't any, do we have any other questions from the board? Nope. Thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you all, and we look forward to continued collaboration. And then we are in the process of hiring a permanent local government affairs contact for you. So that person will be covering this county. As soon as that person comes on board, we will make sure that they are in touch with all of you. And we'll make sure that we get them out in the community and up to speed on everything that you have as far as needs go. So
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Matt, very much. So we'll move on now to item number 26, Madam Clerk.
Item 26, informational item, Public Works received information regarding the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant program.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Hello again. I'm here with Lori Doe. She was our project manager assigned to this effort. What this is a grant that we received funding for. And we're applying this funding to fund our effort with the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. And this is going to be an ongoing process over a period of time to identify areas within the county that need specific focus and attention with regards to road safety. So it's the beginning of the process. We're here to present the item so that you're aware of what the effort is. There's going to be much more meetings moving forward with regards to public interface, outreach, communication, some town hall meetings, things like that. And then we'll be bringing items back in the future once the document has been prepared with recommendations for potential projects that we could put into the CIP and also work with the COG on regional funding. So if there's any questions about the program or any efforts there, we'd be happy to answer.
Supervisor Stopper.
Olive Orchard. 26, please. We'll see if it fits.
Yeah, so I'm actually working with Caltrans on that as we speak, even before this program came along, so it's on our radar.
I appreciate the town halls coming. Sorry,
Yeah.
Martin, but that'll be great for.
And there could be a website that people could go onto and put their comments in and request further information. And there'll be some virtual meetings for folks who can't make it out to town hall meetings, but then there'll also be in-person meetings as well. So we could look at maps and look at different data that's being collected and really get focused on what some of our efforts could be.
Super.
Those meetings will be held, one in each district.
Great. Looking forward to it. Supervisor.
This TAC committee that you have on here, you're going to form, how do you get onto that TAC committee? Because I've already had several people ask me that want to be part of it, and you have stakeholders there as being there. So who do they contact? How do they get on, and how's that going to form?
So you can send me any direct emails and I can have those all added to lists.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions?
Nope. Are there any public comments regarding this item? Any online?
We have no online public comment.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We'll take any work we can get.
We'll move on now to item number 27.
Item 27, resolution, OES, adopt a resolution authorizing the Calaveras County Director of Emergency Services or a designee to, 1, submit a full grant proposal to the fiscal year 2025-26 CAL FIRE Wildfire Prevention Grant Program for the McCollum Hill Buckeye Gulch Fuel Break Project. 2, accept and execute the grant award if awarded. And 3, execute necessary project documents as needed to complete the grant proposal project.
Mr. Holt.
Morning again, board. Eric Holt, Director of Emergency Services. So this is, I was your last board meeting, for Lily Gap up Highway 26. This is gonna be, Buckeye Gulch area in, McCollum Hill. So the RCD had done, the 13 curbs area. You've seen all the vegetation management in. This will extend that to the northeast of McCollum Hill, 117 acres. By the Caliam team is gonna run it. They have asked us to serve as the fiscal agent, which means we'll get, I think this one's a 12% de minimis rate, and assist with the CEQA part of the project. So that is what we're here asking, that we are able to serve as the fiscal agent for the $450,000.
Perfect. Are there any questions from the board? Nope, seeing none.
I have no questions, just a praise. I want to thank Pat McGreevy and the Cal Aid team for all of their efforts. They've been, working areas surrounding this, as you know, Eric, for many years, and this will tie so much together and create a tremendous fuel break. I think that their work for all these years is second to none, and I hope we're getting somebody ready to take the reins when Pat is finally tired of it.
No, we are working toward that
Okay.
for sure.
Pat, he let you know, I'm sure.
Oh,
Very
yes.
vocally.
Pat, he's been such a treasure to these fuel projects. But
And this is a big one. We've obviously had the, not to piggyback on the last one, but we had the biggest fire in the history of Calaveras County. And then 4 years ago, the Electra that came out of that same area. So this just offers protection and it protects people.
and the Tiger Fire just this last weekend could have run down that canyon.
Back down the same
Got
way,
super lucky.
Yeah, but the progress that Cal Fire did, after the Electra fire, they did a lot of good work. I was up there on the side of the canyon watching a lot of it. And the work they did for reduction with that fire at the time and the way they were able to do it was phenomenal. That fire break goes right up past my mom's house. I'd run down that hill to go fishing on the McCallum all the time. So it's that's some steep terrain through there, and that brush is really thick. So it's appreciated because it grows back quickly.
Yeah, and just to your point on the Tiger Fire, it was stopped on a fuel break up top. And so these fuel breaks work.
Yes, they do.
Very much impacted all of 88 last weekend. So I know there was some valuable constituents headed up 88 last week during that. So I was getting many pictures of it.
Yeah, and this is part of the upkeep part. Getting back to keeping up with the brush and everything. So I mean, this area has been done before, and now getting back down in there and hitting some of the same area and then extending it.
Yeah, this is new. This will tie to the Cal Fire BMP there.
Right.
And we, just so the board knows, we are asking to serve as fiscal agent for this, but we also did submit the Cal Fire grant for planning phases. So when we are bringing these to you, we're not competing with these grants. That's part of the charter that we just started with making sure we're not all stepping on each other. So although we're bringing this one, we have submitted our own for planning documents, which is the multi-jurisdiction hazard mitigation plan, which will identify future fuel breaks. So
Right.
Great job. Thank you.
thank you.
Is there any public comment regarding this item? Any
We
comment
have
online?
no online public comment.
Bring it back to the board.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
I should have let you do it all.
That's fine. As long as it goes through.
Right.
That's 401. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you.
We'll move on now to item number 28. Madam Clerk.
Item 28, action item, human resources. 1, introduce and waive reading of an uncodified ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance 2908, uncoupling salaries for members of the Board of Supervisors from the salaries of other Calaveras County elected officials and setting the salary at $41.36 for board members and $48.81 per hour for the board chair. And 2, authorize summary publication of the ordinance.
Ms. Hawkins.
Good morning, Chair Hubbard, members of the board, Judy Hawkins, Human Resources and Risk Director. And so I am bringing before you today, introduce and waive reading of uncodified ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance 2908. So this is direction given by the board when we discuss the compensation policies for board and other elected officials. The first step of this was to untie, because right now the board salary is a calculation of the for elected department heads and sheriff, and that's how the compensation is currently calculated for the board. So by untying this and then establishing the current rate, so this is not a change or a increase to the board salaries. This is just establishing the current rate. Since we're taking the calculation away, we had to make sure there was, county council told me I had to have something in the interim. So we are just establishing what you currently make and untying you from the other elected officials.
Thank you. Is there any board comment regarding this?
You told her she had to do it.
I advised that if we untied it from the existing formula without putting something else in place, that there would be no salaries for that period of time. So this is essentially a placeholder. As Ms. Hawkins said, it's status quo from the board's current salaries. It does not represent an increase in salaries, and this will be in place until that new policy comes into place. As we discussed at that prior meeting, this is going to be a multi-step process. And so this is step one.
Thank you. And thank you, Judy, for sending out the timeline of how this is all going to happen. So
It is a complicated process where there's a lot of steps to it. So this is the first step.
perfect. And Supervisor Stopper?
I did read a lot of other stuff that was saying that we gave direction to bring other stuff back, and I kind of think that that was part of the debate. So I guess I don't know. Never mind.
Yeah, there is a timeline. Did you see the timeline?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did read it, Mark.
Okay. I'll just make sure.
I didn't skip that page.
Thank you. Is there any public comment regarding this item? Is there any comment online?
We have no online public comment.
Thank you. This is an action item, so I'll bring it back to the board. Do I have a motion?
I'll second when Autumn.
I will motion to untie from the other electeds and remain status quo.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Autumn.
And now we'll move on to our last item on the regular agenda, item number 29.
Item 29, informational item, Health and Human Services Agency received a follow-up presentation regarding the organizational review conducted for the Health and Human Services Agency.
Thank you, Mr.
That's your first item.
And
This is your very first time. We should take note.
Now you can explain it to us that we approved your position.
And it's only informational. It's not an action item.
at this time, it's informational, yes.
Yeah, do a lot more information.
I'm gonna be there for 6 months, remember?
Well, the right man for the job.
He is the right man for the job.
Right, well, good morning, Chair, members of the board, Marcos Munoz, your HHSA Director. So today I am here to present, it's actually a follow-up to the presentation that was held by Evergreen Solutions in May. That was presented to the board. The Evergreen Solutions made some recommendations. We took those back and looked into them. I met with my executive team and did our own evaluation to see how we can meet those recommendations they were presenting. Oh, there it goes. A little delay. All right, so today I'm going to go over just a brief summary of the Evergreen Report, what we are doing to address those recommendations. And then this is an informational item. So I'm going to seek the board's input on any changes, and then next meeting, those recommendations that need board approval will come back. So in the summer of 2024, Evergreen Solutions, they were hired to conduct an organizational review of HHSA. And the purpose of that study was to see if we can align our resources with the demand, become more effective as an agency, and meet both the needs of our community and our employees. So throughout the process, they reviewed our organizational structure, our span of control, our staffing levels. They surveyed our peer organization, so other HHSA agencies, as well as they provided us with recommendations. So throughout that process, they found that our current structure, they lacked mid-level management support. The supervisors felt overstretched. They were looking for additional support. The workload, they felt there was inequities. Some had larger workloads than other, and there was a lack of training overall across the agency. So on a side note, we do HR. HR does here at the county exit interviews when employees leave, and they're provided with a survey. It's an optional survey, but out of the last 10 surveys we received, 7 of them felt that the workload was too great. Many of those surveys were conducted by supervisory level employees. Additionally, those surveys were also in line with what Evergreen said, and they said they would like to see more training in the agency as well and more development. So what Evergreen put forward also falls in lines with surveys that we're seeing here at the county as well, related to HHSA. So Evergreen came up with 7 recommendations. So their first recommendation was to realign compliance and create a compliance officer. And then their second recommendation was to look at the supervisor workload and look at redistributing cases, as well as number 3 was to look at the span of control. So in this presentation, you'll see that I group number 2 and number 3 together as they fall in line with each other. Recommendation 4 was to shift programs, work units under programs. Number 5 was to realign some of the operational functions, basically to give the director a little bit more support by shifting some of those functional areas under the assistant director. And then recommendation number 6 was to add an assistant director and create a 2-department agency with a human services side and a health side. And then number 7 was to create a leadership training development program to help invest in our employees. Based on their recommendation, they said in order to accomplish all of those, it would take about 10 positions with a cost of just under $1.2 million. Understanding that ask was very large, they gave an adjusted ask. They said to get this process started, it would be 5 positions at just under $700,000. So that's where we left with Evergreen Solutions. So we went back to the agency and I spoke with our management team. And we looked at how we can address each of those recommendations. So recommendation 1, to create a compliance officer. So we've had several audits in HHSA, and one thing that has been recurrent on our audits as they would like to see a designation of a compliance officer. So this not only fell under what Evergreen was proposing, but it also is something that we have been looking at within the agency based on recent audits. The compliance officer addresses fraud, waste, and abuse. The most successful programs have them outside of the program, so not directly within the programs. So this is one that we were able to tackle immediately. So what we did in HHSA, we had a business administrator that had left, so we had a vacant business administrator. And we shifted that over and repurposed that into a compliance officer. And we created a compliance division, which also has our contracts under it as well. And that position now reports to the director. So recommendation 1, creating a compliance division, has been fulfilled, and that has been taken care of. Recommendation 2 and 3, again, I put these together as these touch on supervisor workload as well as span of control. Right here, you have the public health division in front of you. The red ones are where the span of control is a little high, whereas you have purple where it's a little low. So in public health, we are recommending to the board a couple of actions, and that is downgrading 2 management positions into supervisory positions, as well as reclassifying 1 filled position into a higher level. With that, it will take the top level is what we currently have, but then you see after making those changes, it will help to reduce that span of control into an appropriate level to manage. Looking at the behavioral health department, here's the span of control there. You see we have 4 red lines on the top. This is before. So one recommendation here is the addition of a supervising case manager. By adding that as well as distributing the workload, we end up with that bottom level, which doesn't have anybody in the red anymore. And then on the human services side, again, if you look at the top, so we have to look at this in 2 pieces. The right-hand side, so where you see the first red line all the way to the end on the right, that's the eligibility division. They are the ones that are impacted most with the span of control. So we are asking for the addition of 1 eligibility specialist supervisor, which would reduce that. On the social services side, we do have 1 red line. At this time, we're able to shift 1 person over, but we are having discussions internally on how to address that, as we do not feel that adding a position is the right way to approach that 1 extra person. All right, that brings us to recommendation number 4, looking to shift work units. So one thing that happened when we created an HHSA unit, we moved to a centralized administration unit. We took fiscal out of each of their departments and we put it into 1 unit. Unfortunately, while it sounds great, there are some drawbacks to that. When it comes to the money side of things in HHSA, the money doesn't blend. Regardless of being 1 agency, I still am required to use money in certain areas. I can't blend the money. And another drawback is when we combined them into 1, they were now not allowed to build the administrative units into grants. And so we are paying for them out of realignment. What our realignment is, it's very similar to like general fund dollars. We want to protect those because that is our discretionary money. We do have specific uses on that, but it's more discretionary than the other monies. And so by creating that administrative unit, we tied our hands a little bit on what funding we could use for that. And so part of this cleanup is moving fiscal back to their departments. What it does also is it removes the barriers. One thing we found out through this study is unintentionally, we have created barriers from providing information to the departments. So as programs are developed, as we're trying to figure out how to meet new mandates, we have positioned ourselves where we have to go through several layers to get the information that's needed. So this move of these positions does not cost any money, but it gives the information back to the departments by decreasing barriers to it and allowing for us to build the employees into grants to seek cost reimbursement. And so here is how we looked before, or how we look currently, I should say. Behavioral health right now is the director of behavioral health. They have a senior department analyst under them, a program manager, several program managers. looks most like the Deputy Director of Public Health, who also has a senior manager and several program managers. The one difference is what you can't see on this slide is the program manager in behavioral health does a lot of the administrative work, whereas the department analyst in public health does a lot of the administrative work. And then in behavioral health, I have an analyst doing program work. So I have although it looks similar, the duties aren't quite aligned. And then when you look at social services, we have program managers under there, and we have a wall as we keep in human services, the eligibility department separate. Based on my recommendations, which include several reclasses as well as aligning titles, I come up with a different look when it's all set, if the board approves, where each division will have a business administrator and then several program managers under them. At this moment in human services, I still want to maintain that wall between eligibility and social services. If we combined them at this moment, I think it would be too large for one individual. And so at this time, I am steering clear of that. And that would also leave the door open in the future for recommendation number 6. Looking at recommendation number 5, to shift functional areas over to the assistant director. So as the top, you see that is the director, and the consultant mentioned that the span of control under the director was spread too thin. And so just with shifting some functional areas, although the director still maintains overall decision-making, it helps relieve some of those functional areas that are under the director. Recommendation number 6, although a good recommendation, I do not believe the fiscal climate warrants adding an additional assistant director. It sounds great having a human services agency. It sounds great having a health agency. Fiscally, I don't think it's prudent at this time to move forward in that direction. So this recommendation I would like to put on hold to see how everything pans out fiscally and possibly revisit in the future. And then for recommendation 7, moving forward with training, we are currently having conversations. I had a conversation even this morning about adding training to our employees. And so those conversations are being had. First, I was tackling the structure before I move into that, but those are being had, and we are looking to add additional training. So what does all of that cost, what I've just said? So what it comes down to is I am requesting 3 positions. A supervising case manager on behavioral health, an eligibility specialist supervisor, as well as 1 business administrator. The cost of those is $373,000. In addition, I am looking to move people into their departments, as well as some reclassifications. And I must apologize as there is a typo on here under the reclassification 2, where I'm taking the health ed program manager and downgrading it to a program supervisor. That 12,630 is supposed to be a negative number, and I have it on here as a positive number. But that change is actually a savings. So the cost for all of the reclassifications, if you take into account that change, is 12,617, not the 37 that is listed. So together with the new positions at 373, the actual amount of the change is $385,000. Now, I do want to point out these changes aren't fully bared by Health and Human Services. Like, for example, our position that we would be adding in behavioral health does receive Medi-Cal reimbursement, and a large portion of their salary is offset. In addition to the positions in human services, we do build those into our claims, and we're able to draw down on their salaries. So it is a good estimate to say that we will actually see about half of that, just under $400,000 cost. And so that sums up how to meet the recommendations that were presented by Evergreen and what we are currently doing to address those. And again, these are, I am looking for feedback, but if the board is okay with me moving forward, I am looking to bring this back next board meeting to have those changes voted on.
Supervisor Stopper?
Is that gonna be it? You gonna be comfortable with all that?
I would be comfortable, yes.
Okay. I'm comfortable with it then too.
Supervisor Toffenelli?
He's comfortable with it. Supervisor Stopper is comfortable with it. This will come back at budget.
It was
So
gonna
we
be
can make the adjustments on the budget in September. And that money will not be general fund money it's coming from. It will be state and federal dollars covering the cost. So I'm comfortable with it.
Supervisor Randolph? Okay, I am as well. Thank you very much for doing. Go
Just to
ahead.
clarify, I was intending on bringing it back next meeting, but I can bring it back during budget if that is what the board wishes.
Front load it so that you can get everything in place for the.
That's
budget.
fine. You can bring back the,
Yeah.
but it'll still be in the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, the changes, yeah.
We'll add the,
Is there any public
By
comment?
all means, I'm in favor of bringing it back next meeting.
Yeah. Is there any public comment regarding
If-
this item? Seeing none. Is there any online?
We have no online public comment.
Super. Thank you very much, Marcos. This brings us to supervisor announcements. Supervisor Stopper. You're good. Supervisor Toffenelli?
Yeah, on Thursday of this week, last week, I attended the Chambers Summit, Small Business Summit. And it was very well attended. Got to meet the treasurer of the state of California. And I was surprised having a conversation with her. The size of her staff, it came up during the conversation. And she was saying, because she had staff members there and she had like, what, 4 or 5 staff members there and says, oh, so I asked the question, oh, so how big is your staff? And she said she has a staff of 500 for the treasurer of the state of California. So I thought that was pretty amazing that she needed that many people, but apparently she does. And it was well attended. There was a lot of things done. I think a lot of people that were there got a lot of information. And Supervisor Hubbard was there. We kind of co-emceed the thing and it went pretty well. Also on Friday, I went to the American Public Works Association's annual meeting that they had in Sacramento. And we were presented with 2 awards for Project of the Year. I'll let Martin talk about a project that was in his district, but mine was Valley Springs Safe Route to School project. And it was great that we got awarded Project of the Year for that. So that's my report.
Super. Supervisor Randolph?
Lots of neat stuff in District 2. Attended another fundraiser in Rural Flat for their preschool on July 26th. July 29th, McCulmy Hill had a community safety meeting that was attended by over 60 residents. West Point Farmers Markets are going great. On August 1st, I attended a First 5 Calaveras meeting. On August 1st, later, I attended the Mountain Ranch Community Club potluck where they passed off the care of the park to a new group. August 2nd and 3rd, Rural Flat Ballpark had a softball tournament fundraiser for the Memorial Ballpark up there. And then I just wanted to give a thank you to CAL FIRE and all the cooperators for making quick work of the Tiger Fire that erupted in Amador, threatened Calaveras lines, and was held. That's it.
Super, thank you. On August 5th, I attended the Behavioral Health Board meeting, which was the last one that we were going to have in these buildings. It's now moving on. On the 6th, as Supervisor Toffenelli said, I just really wanted to make a shout out to the chamber. They did an excellent job in bringing our treasurer Fiona Ma and Heather Luzzi from the SBA in Sacramento, as well as other really great speakers. On the 7th, I attended the Area 12 Agency on Aging, which ended up being almost an entire day board meeting because we selected a new CEO who will be starting next month, which is very exciting. And on the 8th, yes, the Apple Awards. I did eat crow about my opinion of the bridge on Mongeese Street Bridge as we accepted an award for it. but I would still love everybody to remember our rural charm in this county. We also, just so you know, the Scott brothers, I don't know if you know the Scott brothers on HGTV, they did a program on Chasing the West. And it was surrounding a couple that wanted to find a home in Murphy's. And it was a great episode. I've got a lot of great feedback on it, and we helped facilitate that. And then just coming up, we've got the Marley brothers and Parker McCullum. You're going this weekend. So Ironstone continues. We've got Ringo Starr coming. We've got Train coming. They'll end the session, and ZZ Top will be the next one up after Parker McCullum. So thank you. Any other CEO, county council? No?
Good.
Susan? Marcos, anything else to add? Super. Well, we're going to go into closed session now, and we'll report out at the next meeting. And we will.
So I actually need to report out from.
Oh, from the last one. Yes, yes. Thank you. Would you? Yeah.
Yes, so just a report out from the July 22nd closed session. Item 1, pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D2, conference with legal counsel, re-anticipated litigation, 1 case, significant exposure to litigation, board action, no reportable action taken. Item 2, pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D1, conference with legal counsel, re-existing litigation, Calaveras Planning Coalition versus Calaveras County Board of Supervisors et al., Calaveras County Superior Court Case Number 19CB44471, board action, no reportable action taken. And for today's closed session, which is item 30 on our agenda, pursuant to Government Code 54957.6, conference with county designated labor negotiator Judy Hawkins regarding the following employee organizations, Sheriff Management Unit. And we do not have any online public comment.
Thank you. And I don't see any here either. So we will adjourn at 11:06.